So I think I'm gonna make this a series with all the different teams I think can contend. I think that'll be fun. Cool idea. Just give a reasoning for all the different teams and why they can contend. So today we're gonna talk about the Blazers. The last video was about the Nuggets, and you can't talk about the Blazers without first bringing up Damian Lillard. I mean, we know he's about. I personally think he's a top 2 point guard in the league, right behind Steph. He really showed out in the playoffs last year, especially against OKC. Denver, he had a good series. The Warriors, he didn't play that well. But I mean, I just think that's because of how exhausting the Denver series was. I mean, 7 games, one of them going to like quadruple OT, if I remember correctly, at least triple. I mean, it was ridiculous. So give him a little pass for having a mass series against the Warriors. But overall, we know what Damian Lillard's about. He's a playoff killer, one of 2 players to hit 2 series clinching game buzzer beaters in their playoff career. Him and Michael Jordan are the only ones, so we know what he's about. And then you got CJ McCollum, his backcourt mate, and I actually think that the two of them make up the best or second best backcourt in the NBA. Second best if you consider Paul George and Russell Westbrook a backcourt. I'm excluding Clay and Steph because Clay won't really be playing next year. So they have the best backcourt in the NBA outside of Russ and PG, if you consider PG Russ's backcourt mate. And CJ McCollum really showed out in the playoffs this year. He had a great series against the Nuggets. Without him, I don't think they win that series. He absolutely showed out. And I think he has some real all-star potential this year. I think if he continues the run he made in the playoffs, then he has a real good shot of being an all-star in the West. I know the West is guard stacked. I mean, they got so many good guards and Russ and Steph, Harden, Dame. But I think CJ McCollum has a real good shot of being a reserve this year for the All-Star team if he continues to play at the level he was showing in the playoffs. That's not to mention the addition of Hassan Whiteside they made, and I know they had to trade Mo Harkless and Myers Leonard, which is some spacing, but honestly, I think for Hassan Whiteside, it's worth it. And I do think he's a little overrated, especially defensively, because his block stats a little inflated because he constantly goes for blocks. I mean, he plays such poor defense because of how often he jumps. I think his defense is a little overrated, but he's a good big man. His contract's a little much, but I think this year the West is wide open enough where the trade was good. Exchange some spacing for a pretty solid big man in the West, and you pair him up with Yusuf Nurkic, who's coming back next year, and I think they got one of the best front courts in the NBA, not even just the Western Conference. Speaking of Yusuf Nurkic, actually, he was a huge part of last year, their success, and I do think, unfortunately, he's going to be a little worse, at least at the start of next year, because no one comes back from an injury as severe as his right away without any lagging, or just he's going to be a little slow, unconditioned, not ready for NBA games. But I give it at least 3 months. By January or February, I'm sure he'll be back up to where he was, and he may even improve. You never know. But him and Hassan Whiteside in the front court. I mean, I'm assuming you play him at power forward, but him and Hassan are just going to be a dynamic duo in the front court this year. And not to mention, they got a good backup power forward in Zach Collins, who really showed out in the playoffs. He was a key rotation piece for them, and he played relatively well throughout the entire playoffs. And he's young. You still got him on his rookie deal, so he's a great player to have. He'll only get better. I'm sure the pick and roll with him and CJ or him and Dame is going to be great next year. Now we're going to get on to the actually interesting young player they drafted, and they actually got Nasir Little, who going into the college season this year was anticipated to be one of the best prospects in the draft, and he had a pretty bad college season, at least for all the hype he had before. But the Blazers can't really lose in this situation. If he's not great, I mean, sure, it sucks, but it's whatever. If he turns out to meet his expectations, which he has a ton of potential. I mean, he's a great player, great prospect, so we'll see how he does in summer league. But if he can reach 80% of what people expected him to before he went into college, and I think that's a steal for the Blazers where they got him. You also got some decent bench players filling out the rest of the bench. You got Kent Bazemore. They signed Mario Hezonja, which I thought was weird because he's a below average NBA player in my opinion. But I mean, they're at least 6 deep. The loss of Mo Harkless, Enos Cantor, and Myers Leonard kind of hurts. They lose a little bit of their depth, but I think they make up for it with the star power that is Hassan Whiteside. I think he's overrated, but I still recognize that he's easily I would say top 10 center in the league right now. So him and Yusuf Nurkic should be a pretty dominant backcourt in the West. My one issue is spacing because neither him nor Nurkic shoot the three particularly well. He may work on it in the offseason. I'm not sure. If either of them happens to get a three, though, then I think it's over. I mean, the spacing's great on the Blazers. Their small forward position, though, now that they've gotten rid of Mo Harkless and let Alfarid Aminu walk in free agency, I'm not sure who they're going to start. I doubt it'll be Mario Hezonja, just because he's not very good. He's a good backup, I guess, but he's definitely not starting caliber, so I'm not sure what they're going to do. But overall, I think between Dame, CJ Hassan, and Yusuf, not to mention their young talent, Zach Collins, I think they're going to be very good next year. And you got to remember, they were the 4th seed in the West last year, and Yusuf got hurt, so you never know. They could be a top 3 seed this year, especially when you consider that the Warriors are hurt. Of course, if Kawhi goes to LA or the Clippers, then their seeding in the West could shift depending on that, but they did make the Western Conference Finals last year. I don't think people are giving them the credit they deserve. They did lose a ton of people in free agency, but I think Hassan Whiteside makes up for that. They could make a serious run. The team that beat them last year was the Warriors, and I know it was without KD, but they don't even have Clay now, so I think they could make a serious run in the West. They beat the Nuggets last year. I'm sure they could do it again if they play well enough in the series, and I don't really see any team out West, excluding the Lakers, if they get Kawhi, that could beat this team, or that this team doesn't have a shot against. I think they could beat everyone, at least in the Western Conference. Not sure about the East, but yeah, I think they have a real shot at making it to the finals this year, just like the Nuggets. So yeah, if you guys agree with me, leave a like on the video, discuss in the comment section below. Let me know what team you think's the favorite in the West. So yeah, guys, I'll see you later. Peace.